Of course, this is not financial advice and for entertainment purposes only. Investors, welcome a very special guest, Mr. Michael Brownstein, also on Blossom as well as on YouTube, My Retirement Trading as well on YouTube. Now, if you guys want to see both of our portfolios on Blossom, it will be in the link in the description of this video, as well as the pinned comment section. Now, Michael's Blossom bio says that he's been investing for years and that he mainly invests in index funds, but in the last year, he started investing in ETFs that provide income. Now, Michael's portfolio is valued at just over 7 figures, yes, over $1 million, where Michael earns just under $60,000 every single year in distributions as well as dividends, all thanks to his dividend yield of 6.73% on Blossom, where his top ETFs pay him the most in passive income from VOO, QQQI, SPYI, YBTC, BTCI, as well as SPYI and ULTY. Now, I'm going to throw it back to you, Michael, and how you're feeling about being on the channel and about how your portfolio has been treating you lately.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on here as a guest. Now, I feel really good the way the market's been going lately. Very good.
Now, my first question for you, Michael, is can you introduce yourself as well as provide us a brief overview of how you got here today with over 7 figures in your portfolio and how you started your investing journey?
I started actually when I was young, like around 21. I bought 40 shares of Walmart stock, and I wasn't able to keep it because I needed the money. And so the next time I went down to the 401k at my work, and I got started just by putting like $20 a week in it. I didn't know anything about index funds at the time. I asked the people there, I said, hey, what do I invest in? They gave me a list of funds, and they said, we can't tell you that, but here's the funds. So I'm looking at the funds, and I see one that says balanced. And I go over to them and I say, what do you think of this one? And they said, oh, yeah, that'll work. I put my money in this balanced fund for like over 20 years. For the amount of time working, I did not have anything. Like 22 years, I think I had 150K.
I'm sorry, how much were you like putting into the balance fund? Like every single 2 weeks?
I started off at 20 a week at one time. As I got to making more money in my career, I did up it to 10% of my income for a while. And then when the market had a pullback in around 2008 or so, I cut it back to $50 a week. From 93 to 2015, I only had $150,000. So that's rough.
Yeah.
You know?
So what changed ever since then?
I met this guy like years earlier, but we never talked about the 401k. I went to the stock class at a junior college they had at night, and I met this guy named Bob there, and he ran quarter car washes, and he was like an entrepreneur guy, and he's quite a bit older than me. We were just kind of like friends, and he told me about he was trading options and things like that. And so I wanted to learn how to trade options. He said, yeah, come on over, man. I'll show you how to do it. He's going to teach me how to do some covered calls. What changed everything for me is I went over to Bob's house, and he had this book laying on his table, the Tony Robbins money book. Tony Robbins, the motivational guy? Like, what's he know about money except for spending it, you know? And this Bob guy goes, no, man, this is an incredible book. I took it and I read it, and I was like so disappointed. Like, everything in that book told me that everything that I had been doing was wrong for all these years. Like, they said avoid like target date funds. And one of the big key takeaways that I got out of this book was on index fund investing. They were changing 401k companies at my work at the time. I went down there and I didn't even want to mess with them because they didn't match at my company. So all I wanted to do was get my money. And they said, well, you know, you can't do that, but look at these funds. So I go through the funds and I see one, an S&P 500 index fund. So I put that money in there. And the day I did that, my life changed completely. When I say it changed, I had never made money before in the market. But when I put it in that index fund, like it was just like a few years later, by like 2020, it was over 300K. It had already doubled. I think it's worth about 640 now, the money I have in there.
So I'm assuming that your first ETF investment, was it VOO?
Yes and no. 401k company had something similar to a VOO. But when I got my money myself and put it in an IRA, it was immediately VOO.
Now, from your Blossom bio, it said that you were mainly an index fund investor and that you switched over to ETFs that provide passive income. So My question is, what made you switch up from, the S&P 500 mainly to now these cover call ETFs?
I still have a huge chunk of VOO in my account. Like it's like the main core position still. It's my anchor is VOO. And get into the covered call ETF funds. I had a few $100,000 sitting around that was like in just like in a money market, getting like 4%. And I'm like, I need to make some money on that because even if you just put it in the market, you could probably get 10 to 12% a year average over time. So I then started doing some investigating and searching YouTube, and I found people that were getting into these covered call funds. Remember when I told you in the beginning that Bob, he would show me how to trade options. Well, I did take some of that money at times, and I would trade, like I bought SPYI instead of VOO, and I would trade covered calls on them for income. And I was only getting like about 1% a month. But I'm having to like take my time, try to find an entry point, try to watch it to buy it back if it, went in my favor and stuff like that. So I'm like, it was okay. But when I found these covered call funds, they do the work for you. And then I found out like some of the NASDAQ ones perform closer to the index anyway.
For these cover call products, was it mainly like the passive income every single month or every single week? Or was it more of like you just want to put your money to work and see if you could grow that wealth versus in like a money market fund?
I bought a bunch of them, just little small positions. And then I kind of went crazy and started buying a bunch of them. Once I kind of figured it out in the down market, especially in April, I put most of them in one company mainly, most of them. NEOS, QQQI, that's my second biggest position. IBIT, which is the third position, and then SPYI is the fourth largest position.
Why is your portfolio the way it is? And like, why specifically did you choose those ETFs out of so many ETFs in the market?
The good thing about like having a YouTube channel like mine, one thing I like is that I didn't realize it, but I do a lot of research, just like comparing funds and everything. You find out that some actually work better than others. Okay, the anchor position's VOO by Vanguard, but then the second largest is QQQI by NEOS Funds. It pays great. I mean, like I'd have to look at the numbers, but last month I got, like actually about a week ago, I got $2,800, and it was mainly because of the NEOS funds. If I annualized that, it would have been like $34K, and I only had like $240,000 invested.
What type of investor are you? Because I knew that you were mainly more of a growth investor, but now you're kind of like a hybrid. So I'm going to ask you, like, what type of investor are you right now?
Right now, I am definitely a hybrid investor because I'm only 54 years old. I plan on working to about 59 or earlier, but so I'm kind of like, I don't want to keep the Vanguard VOO forever where it's eventually where, like if the market was to take a downturn for a couple of years, I don't want to get in a situation where I have to sell it at lower prices. So I would prefer to sell it at a high and then buy those covered call funds, and then I would just clip the income off of them to live on.
Now, why no growth ETFs? Because I read that whole book by Tony Robbins. I think it was like Master Money, the Game. That book, now I think my top position by a mile is VOO. I think I have like $155,000 in it. I also have growth ETFs as well, but you have no growth ETFs, like no SCHD, no SPYMO, no VGT, etc. So I'm going to ask you, why no growth ETFs?
At one time, when I first got a hold of my 401k money, I did take like 100,000 of it and I put it in this Vanguard fund called MGK. It actually was very good, but then I kind of got like a little bit more conservative as I'm getting, and I put all that into the VOO. I also had QQQM at one time as well for a little bit.
Now, why do you like QQQI so much? Because that's your second highest holding. It's probably the one that's paying you like the most dividends, which it is. Something that I'm assuming that you believe in so much by NEOS. So why do you like NEOS a lot? You also have SPYI as well as BTCI. So why NEOS? Why do you love them so much? And why do you like QQQI as well?
During the down market, I noticed that the NEOS held up better. Like the NAV held up better on it. It was a great concern to me because I had another a weekly pair that's real popular, and I gave up all. I had it for almost a year, and during the down market, I gave up everything that I had made on it. I literally had 6 figures in it, and I think I made $500 on it after getting out of it.
So you
So
had six figures and then you only made $500?
yeah, on the weekly pair that I had. So, but my Neos had made money. So then I was like, yeah, these seem to do a little bit better.
Which weekly pair was it?
I actually had a couple. I had the XDTE and the QDTE by Roundhill.
Why no SCHD? Because if you want to live off of dividends or passive income, people also like, a dividend fund like SCHD, like DGRO, FDVV. So I want to know your thoughts on why no SCHD and why no dividend ETFs that have like true dividends.
It's just not my thing. I have owned a little bit of SCHD before, and my mom, she had her money invested with somebody, and she decided to have me handle it. We bought a nice position in VOO and SCHD. Her VOO position has made 47% in around 2 years, but her SCHD position only made 15%. So I'm not worried about a little bit of dividend. But I've heard like people say that they had reasons, why to do SCHD, but it's not my thing. There's probably nothing wrong with it, and there's like there's always more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So when I looked at your portfolio before, and I see me and you have almost the same percentage of VOO. I know it sounds boring because it's like everybody wants to hit like a home run or everything like that, but I mean, 30 years will go by so fast. I'd rather have the sure thing guaranteed than, take a chance and be wrong.
Now, when you started making money with like index funds and VOO and even your portfolio with these high quality cover call funds, like did that change your like financial picture a lot or like how you viewed money or more comfortable knowing that you'll have money in retirement?
When I looked on a Blossom, it showed that money would like almost triple or like 2.5 times in the next 16 months if I just left it the way it is, like their projection. So I think it'll take me from 58 to 150 is what they were saying. The one thing that I have that I really enjoy, Bitcoin covered call ETFs. They pay a lot of money. When I mean a lot. YBTC by Roundhill, I don't even think I got 20,000 in it, and it's paying about 10,000 a year. So it's a nice rate of return. And the same thing to BTCI by the Neos, it's doing very good. So I like these personally just because I don't want to be left out. And I guess that's my growth is, like what you were talking about. I got close to 100K between IBIT and those funds. There's a couple smaller ones. I got a little bit of YEEF, and then I got a little bit of XTBY by Granite Shares. A variety, of flavors in my portfolio. It's just that I like sticking with index-based ones for the core.
You made a post saying that you sold all your MSTY and that you might have regretted that decision, but you felt that it was best because of your risk tolerance. Why did you sell MSTY? Why did you also choose it in your portfolio in the first place?
YouTube, like they would show like, what if you put like $10,000 in this? And I got to looking at it and I'm like, I got some cash laying around. I put some money in it and I ended up with over 1,000 shares of it. And if I would have sold it when I wanted to, I would have made $5,000 on it. And it was about 6 months, but I just waited a few weeks and I only made $2,500 on it. So it's a heck of a rate of return, but now it's actually went down. I sold it close to $19 and I think it's in the 16s now. So I don't feel like it was a bad decision for me.
I see that you also hold YieldMax ETFs like ULTY and YieldMax. This is not YieldMax, but XBTY, which all have super high yields, 80%, 90%, 100%. They are also the lowest allocation in your portfolio, these super high yields. So my question is, why are these higher yielders a super low allocation compared to, your VOO, SPYI, even your QQQI as well?
Yeah, I just prefer the safety. And it's safe in my mind anyway. Like I feel like they're safe to keep the index-based funds. But I thought about like what you said about these high yielders because like 40 or $50 a week and there's 50 weeks, that's 2,000. And I've only got $2,200 in it. After a while, I'll have all my money back. So in a year. So that's incredible, So I'm just a little scared, but like upon doing the research, I compared like ULTY, QQQI, and the SPYI and stuff. And if I remember right, it done a little bit better. Like on when year to date, it's done a little bit better. I don't know. I just like seeing my portfolio grow on the NAV as well. That's the only part that I understand that they're income funds and that's what their purpose is. but I'm still like mentally caught between, I like to keep my original money the same. Like one time I got paid $500, but I lost like 300. So I'm like, I'm still ahead, but it was rough losing that money, psychologically.
Now, give me your thoughts on YieldMax ETFs because everybody's super used to seeing like yields of about 10 to 15%, like NEOS, like TSPY, like, the Goldman Sachs ones that you have. But then we have YieldMax with this highest yield on the market. So, what are your honest thoughts on YieldMax? Because I know that you own them, but you also sold MSTY as well.
I think they have their purpose as income funds only. You do have to look at the total return, but if you can't handle the NAV going down, it's probably not for you, in my opinion. The total return may be better or even, the same as some other funds, but if your initial purchase is going down, like say if you buy something for 20 and then it goes down to 10, that's scary to me. I'm one of these guys that drip all my dividends and then distributions. I drip every one of them on the QQQI originally, and I'm like, I put this much money in there, and right now if I sell it, I'm like $500 ahead. That's it. Yeah, I don't like that. And the reason I sold it, because they've came back nicely, but the reason I sold it is like I was frightened of another market downturn. Like if it did it again quick, like in the next month or two, then I was scared it would just, drag it down even further. NAV erosion to me, for my taste, I don't like it. I do not like NAV erosion. It's like having a savings account and you're getting paid 20%, but it's going down 10 on the original part. So it's a little scary.
Now, do you think that your portfolio can help you live off of distributions and dividends? And is your portfolio, like the way it's set up, the best for living off of dividends? Because right now you're at $60,000 per year from dividends and distributions. And I'm assuming in the next 5+ years, you'll be at probably double that easily.
Yeah, it's not set up ideal for that. I'm still trying to grow it a little bit. The rule of 72, you take the number 72 and you divide it by your rate of return. 10 years, the S&P has done about 12 to 13%. So if I just call it 12, every 6 years that money will double. And I got over 500 just in VOO by itself. So I'm hoping I can get that to $1 million in the next 5 years. That's what my hope is. And then if it does that, then or faster maybe, if we get it, get some 30% years or whatever, convert some of it for sure. But it's not ideal because I like to have like a probably at least 150 in income coming in because of taxes, and I want to be able to put a little bit back in.
Now with VOO, because I also have VOO, but you have way more than I do, what has it been like investing in it? Have you seen your dividends grow? Have you seen it really make like a big jump in your portfolio in huge bull markets? Has it been a true game changer in your portfolio?
It has been a true game changer because of growth, the growth part. The amount that I have, I think it pays about $1,600 every 3 months. So that's still like $6,400 going back into it a year. That's pretty nice. You can get like $14,000 on $100,000 in some of these other funds in a year. So
now with your portfolio, is there like a criteria that you have to sell an ETF, or even like one where you want to add an ETF to your portfolio?
If they make better products, I will convert to them. It's just that simple. I had some products that I loved and I thought they were, the cat's meow, the best thing ever. They didn't do like I thought. And then I found something that in my mind worked better, so I converted to that. Always evolving. If something proves you wrong, or if maybe they just make a better product. I mean, if something pays 2% more than the other one, then I'm more excited about that.
Now, what is your retirement goal for your portfolio? Because you said age 59 is your goal for retirement or earlier. Now, give me like a portfolio balance and how much money you want to earn a passive income from your portfolio.
If I can get 150K per year, then it's over. Yeah, I'll just, pretty consistent, because I figure I'll put 50 of it back in and take the other 100 to live off of. When it gets to 150, then I'm going to reevaluate unless something drastically changes. When it truly gets to 150 that I can get in my hands, then it's over. I'll definitely just retire at that point.
What are some tips that you've done, or like tips for success in terms of investing helped you get to where you are today?
You got to kind of think positive and like believe it's going to happen kind of deal too. Like you can go like to the casino and you can bet on the dice to win or lose, and it's about a 50%, or black and red on roulette. It's 50%. choose to bet positive that it's going to win and not lose. And I kind of think that market's going to keep going up. And yeah, they may pull back a little, but I'm not worried about it for sure. I've been through several of them. I've been through several scary, pullbacks and stuff. And like, wow, I wish I would have sold out and bought back in, but you can't time it. It's just, I mean, people do, but I don't, I can't time it. I'm just not that smart to be able to time it. I'd rather just go for the sure thing with the index funds as the core. Eventually, when I paid my house off, I had extra income, and that's where I was able just to start saving huge amounts of money. Just like still had the same job, so I had money just coming in, and next thing you know, I started, gaining more and more money and had to buy stocks, and that's when I really got more interested in it. Saved the extra money instead of just blowing it and buying something fancy or something.
How do you invest in ETFs? Is it dollar cost averaging, lump summing, or both?
I have done both before, but like something like a Vanguard VOO or something, like I just bought it one lump sum. That's it. I bought it in lump sum. And I mean, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars when I bought into it. I bought into the lump sum and I'm letting the dividends go back into it. So I'm dripping them, just waiting. If I try to hope it goes down, what if it never goes down? I mean, what do you do? Then I'm going to be in a panic mode or something, or mad at myself. Like, why did I wait? I believe over the test, it's proven since like 76, I believe. This dollar cost average, what I mean by dollar cost average is just buy it on a regular basis. That's what I mean by that. Weekly, monthly, whatever you can afford. But right now, on my VOO, I don't put no more money in it because it's in an IRA. I'm just letting it just do its thing. I'm playing with these other riskier type funds.
If I was in your shoes, maybe like a couple years ago, I wouldn't have lump summed, but that was like the smartest thing you could have done because compounding that growth. And then I can't imagine, like, let's say the market goes up in the next 5 years the way it did in the last 5. So you're going to be sitting super nice in your portfolio. So congratulations on that. Like, seriously.
I look at people like you got like over 250K. My mind is like, in 6 years, if you don't do anything, this guy's going to have 500. And then another 6 years, he's going to have $1 million. That's like 12 years. You have $1 million. You want to be near as old as me. Applaud you for that, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because that's fantastic. Never play the stock market again. Just leave it. It's going to do well for you over time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm like addicted to ETFs. So I'm always going to be buying ETFs. Like no matter what happens, it's like what gives me a lot of joy every single day when the market's open. Are taxes a big concern for you because you generate just under $60,000 per year in dividends and distributions? So people want to know, like, is taxes a big burden from all that income?
Last year, I didn't have to pay that much. And I'm not really sure. I didn't like break it down truthfully, but I guess the ROC, return of capital part, must have eliminated it because I think I actually got a little money back, believe it or not. Back, not even paid out. We'll see. I don't know but the 60,000 is a lot more, so that could affect it. I might have to, but even if I have to pay, like if I get 60,000 and I pay 20% out, 12,000, I'm still 48,000. That's a lot of money to me. It's 4,000 a month.
Now, how do you handle a recession, stock market crash?
I had my account go up from like up to 200,000 at one time, and it pulled back to 150. I'm like, oh man, I gave it all back. But my dad used to tell me, he said, if you didn't sell it, it's not a loss. I just never sold, suffered through it. And so far it's been good. That's what I was kind of like alluding to earlier. Like you could get into a downturn. And if you just had it all in those funds, you would have to sell them at lower prices than they were if you needed the money. That's what my goal is to sell some of them out when they're at all-time highs, at least probably enough to pay 150 a year.
Now, if you could start all over, would you go all in VOO or would you go all in, cover call ETFs like QQQI, like SPYI, and your portfolio with cover call funds?
When I was like 93, so I'd have been like 1993, I was 22 years old when I first started getting into 401k. And if I had even known anything about index fund investing, I would have put that money in there. And I'm very confident that I would have a lot more money, like maybe double, I'm thinking for real. It's sad I didn't know about that, but these days they got people like you and other channels that are just like telling everybody about VOO and other index funds. And I mean, I've seen some pretty cool looking instruments on your site. It's like AOTG. Kind of makes sense what the guy was saying about like, if you're building furniture or something, you got to build a new piece of furniture. But once you got the software built, these companies can just sell it for cents. And that's why everything they invest in is so profitable. There's so many cool things you can invest in these days that I didn't know about.
That's been a fund that I've been investing in like so much lately, but I'm not stopping investing into VOO. But I want to give a quick shout out to John Tinsman, the portfolio manager of AOTG, which is one of the best ETFs, in my opinion, for 2025. What risk do you think your portfolio is, from 1 being low risk to 5 being the highest amount of risk in your portfolio?
4.5. The reason I'm going with the 4.5, I do got a little riskier stuff like the Bitcoins, but the reward's so good in them. Like a covered call fund, to me, that's like an insurance policy. Even if it goes down, you're still getting payments on it. So I don't feel like it's risky to me.
So 4.5 being like high risk.
Oh, no. No, it's low risk. It's never like 1 risk then. Yeah.
Okay. So you think
that's
that,
a low risk to me.
okay. I like
I
that.
misunderstood what you said, but yeah, it's a low risk. Definitely a low risk.
What's one mistake that you made early on? I probably know your answer with ETFs that others should avoid.
You got to get you a core position, in my opinion, something like a VOO or whatever you like, but whatever you believe in as a core position. And then once you got that established, then you can branch out into other things. I believe the biggest thing that I did in the last couple of years, I saw something work a little bit and then I went crazy going after it, putting lots of money into it, over 6 figures. Like I told you, like a covered call is like an insurance policy. Even though the market went down, I did lose all my gains, but I didn't lose my principal. So I feel like it was an insurance policy.
Now, what advice would you give to somebody today who wants to build a high quality ETF portfolio?
Yeah, the anchor funds such as the VOO or the QQQ, and then maybe something a little more riskier like a Bitcoin type funds. Like I said, I'm a big fan of that because my wife, we were sitting around talking when the BlackRock was fixing to come out with their ETF. The reason I went with that was I don't know anything about wallets and all that stuff, so crypto wallets. And so I wanted some exposure, but I didn't want to mess with that. And the tax part, I wanted to put it in something like an ETF. I can make a mouse click and get rid of it. I'm like, I think I'm going to put like $25,000 in there. And she's like, oh, no, put 50, put 50. So I decided on 30,000 originally, and it's like up over 160% that fast. I bought it in January or early February 24, and it's up 160%. So it's been a great return, and people predict, like I believe like Kathy Woods and people like that predict huge numbers. And if they're even close, I want that to be, like my lottery ticket to, just hit it out of the park, basically.
Is growth investing underrated or overrated, and why?
I think it's underrated because it's depending on your age. Like if I was talking to my daughter or myself when I was younger, I would say start when you're 18 years old. Start with an index fund, even if it's $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever you can afford. Put it in there, never touch it, and reinvest the dividends. And as you can put money in over time, just keep doing it. And if you can afford it, then put 10%, or if your company matches, take the maximum so you can get the match out of it as well. I definitely don't think it's underrated at all.
Now, what about passive income investing? Is that underrated or overrated, and why?
It's not underrated either. It just depends on where you're at in life, in my opinion. Like I'm going to move into more of those as I get older. Basically, I'm going to grow my portfolio. My thought is like if I had like $1 million in covered call ETFs, most of it in the index-based ones at 14%, say like I put a million would be like 140,000 a year. That would be pretty good, but I would probably put some in the Bitcoin ones like the BTCI or the YBTC because I wouldn't put a lot in them, but they pay pretty good. I mean, like I think I looked earlier and they're paying over 20% this year. So that's quite, and it was actually double what the S&P had done when I compared it, against them. So it's a little bit riskier, but the payouts are nice in them.
Now, what do you look forward to in retirement?
Yeah, I want to travel with my wife and see all kinds of places that we haven't seen. And I don't really want to manage it too much, but it is fun. It is a true passion to look at it and see what it's doing. I don't want to have to manage it. Like if I miss a day or two, or actually the other day, my cell service went out on my phone for like 12 hours when I was traveling. And I'm like dependent on that for like trading, day trading or things like that. I'd have been in panic mode. So I like it to be where I don't have to touch it. And if I forget about it, then it's okay. It's going to be okay. I don't want to have to be like micromanaging my account on a regular basis.
What's the biggest misconception that you think people have about cover call ETFs? Because it's still kind of like a newer thing, or it's becoming like I guess the next big thing. You said that you're going to be like transitioning your portfolio more towards these cover call products. So like, is there something that investors are getting wrong about these ETFs?
I listen to a lot of stuff, and a lot of people think that they're just getting their own money back. I don't think some people understand how they actually work. They are professionals, so I like letting them do the work, but you're not getting your own money back, your original money back. You're getting money that they earn for you, and then they spread it back out to you.
How will you teach your kids about investing? Because I'm assuming that you might pass your portfolio down to your kids. And how are you instilling like what you are doing now from like the mistakes that you made early on?
Yeah, hopefully there is generational, but I always joke about it, said that I'm not going to go without, you might see a 75-year-old with a Ferrari or something, but like it's still, everything's based on age. Like somebody like your age, in my opinion, I would stay with the index funds. Or there's this great guy on YouTube, Income Architect. I love watching his channel. I like his strategy. I believe what he says to do is you take your covered call funds and you keep 8% on costs and reinvest the rest of it back in. And you probably won't run out, or you'll get a little pay raise every so often or whatever. And that makes good sense to me, because like I said, if you get say if you had $1 million and you got 14%, you'd have 140, and you keep 8% on costs, that would be 80,000. You get to put the rest of it back in, 60,000 back in, to just keep growing and getting bigger and bigger. Like I said, it always depends where you're at in life. I'm a hybrid investor right now, and there's guys that I've seen videos where guys make like 50 grand a month and stuff. And I've got that kind of capital. I could probably do that as well. I don't want any NAV erosion. It's just the way it is. I'd rather be safe than sorry and be able to provide for my wife and myself. And
why don't you have like single stock cover call ETFs? Because you have mostly, I feel like, mostly index based ones, but you have like no single stock cover call funds.
I had the MSTY, which that would have been one, I guess. And I did sell it, and I made money on it. So, I mean, I have nothing against it. I did make money on it, made $2,500 on it. And, of total return, just $2,500. And, I got this one called, it's by Rex Shares. It's NVII. I've been dabbling in that one a little bit, and it seems to be paying okay right now. And I've heard people say, like, I watched it on your show before, like with, the J guy from YieldMax. He said, you got to believe in the underlying. And if you don't believe in the underlying, if you're just buying something just to buy it, it's probably not going to turn out for you. But if you believe in NVIDIA and you think it's going to be 10 times in the next 10 years, then maybe it's not a bad idea to try a little bit of the single stock covered call funds.
Michael, do you have anything that you want to shout out, like your YouTube channel, or like where people could find you and learn more about your investing journey and all the knowledge you have about your portfolio and everything ETFs?
My Retirement Trading, that's my YouTube channel. I actually got a weekly recap called Coffee and Dividends that I do every Saturday morning, and you can check it out, see what I've done that week. And sometimes the payments are nice, like $2,800, and sometimes they're like $400 in a week. So I got the Blossom at Michael Brownstein on Blossom.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Brownstein from Blossom, as well as from My Retirement Trading on YouTube. So please, guys, go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Now, if you guys like this video, please give it a like, because this cute puppy did. And don't forget to check out our last interview right here on your screen. I love you guys so much. Crush the stock market, and take it easy.
Thank you for having me.